morning, stock traders, and welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I'm your host, Stock Sumo. Thanks for joining us on another fantastic Freaky Friday, September 7th, 2012. Joining us on this morning's program is Haas. What's up, buddy?
Good morning there, Mr. Stock Sumo. Just ready to roll with another stellar stock spotlight here at STT Radio, my man.
Awesome, man. It's been an action-packed week for us. We've had all kinds of exciting stock spotlights, and I'm looking forward to another fresh one today.
All right, well, if you don't mind, I'm just going to get right into it.
Go for it.
Sounds good. We did a spotlight on this particular stock, ticker FRCN, Firemen's Contractors Incorporated. I believe about a Monday or Tuesday ago, on August 27th, August 28th, is when we were featuring this company. Had a nice run after that, getting lots of attention. Ran from about 0.002 to over a penny, so there's definitely eyes on this stock right now. But let's talk a little bit about the company first. Firemen's Contractors. I'm just sitting on the website here right now, www.firemen'scontractors.com. And basically, just to give a brief overview of what the company does. Firemen's Contractors is committed to providing superior service in parking lot, maintenance, and construction services. Went way more in detail on exactly what they do, but they provide lots of services to the Texas community right now. Started in Texas, and now just recently in the press, we've been noticing that they've been putting out lots of stuff that show how they plan to expand. All right, and a key thing that they've been working on is these franchise opportunities. So just checking out the franchise packages one more time on the website here real quick. They're working on franchising the Firemen's Contractors brand name and maintenance services. You can see they have a nice little investment package right here where the initial Firemen's Contractors company will be taking royalties and various marketing fees and whatnot to bring in some revenues from these various franchises that are being formed throughout the U.S. right now. Okay, so that's just a brief overview. We went more in depth on our first spotlight, but I'm not going to keep repeating all the same stuff that we went over on the same spotlight because we want to talk about a lot of the new stuff based on the press that they've been putting out over the last couple of weeks here. But very cool company. They're really trying to build this Firemen's Contractors brand name more than anything else. In the construction industry, it's more about networking. Quality of work is very important as well, and these guys are top-notch as far as the equipment they use and the types of maintenance services they provide and just general customer service. But the Firemen's Contractors brand name is a brand name that I really feel that they can imprint throughout the United States fairly easily. They donate a percentage of their revenues to local firefighter agencies. Okay, so a great networking tool right there, and they're really getting their name out there. One other thing I just want to check out on the website is their client list, because they've done some work for some really well-known clients. Citibank, Bank of America, Microsoft, 7-Elevens, let's see what else we got here. Buffalo Wild Wings, Tyson, Days Inn, Pet Boys, Lowe's, Nissan, tons of big name clients, all right, that they've provided these various contractor services for. So definitely getting their name out there. I don't think network's going to be too much of an issue as they expand in the near future here. Let's just roll over to Pink Sheets real quick, get an idea of what sort of share structure we're looking at. Over-the-counter QB company on Pink Sheets, and we see we got about an outstanding share count as of May 10th, 2012 of just under 83 million shares, 82.9 million, and an authorized share count of about 200 million shares as of June 30th, 2011. That's a little bit outdated. The outstanding is a little more updated here. So putting the market value at around $400,000 as of the close yesterday, or at around 0051. So that's just some general share structure information right there. And I want to roll into the latest 10Q, as I always like to do as well. This one was released, let's see here. This is for the March 2012 quarter ended. We got an asset base of about $124,184, so not a very large asset base at that point. Liabilities, we're looking at total liabilities of just over $1 million, something you'd expect from a small company trying to make it in this difficult economy. Most of that's going to be in the form of various types of convertible notes, as we see right here, about $200,000 worth. Another large portion coming from accounts payable at the top there. But again, just reiterating the 200 million shares authorized common stock, just over 80 million outstanding right there. Revenues, they do bring in some revenues. They weren't focusing on this franchise, these franchises initially when they started the company. They just been doing that recently. So these revenues that we're seeing right here are from the actual company itself. You could call it the first franchise if you want, but it's wholly owned by the company. Revenues for the quarter ended March 31st, 2012, about 100,000. And as we can see, for the 9 months ended March 31st, 2012, we got over $500,000. So we're talking about probably between $500,000 and $1 million in revenues before they start this franchise-based expansion. So not too shabby. Love to see these smaller companies that are actually bringing in some revenues versus a lot of the pile of craps that a lot of people are trading out there that don't have any revenues at all. But just one last thing that I want to note in the 10Q, other than the actual balance sheet itself, is that this company does have a lot of convertible debt out there. Okay. Note 7 down here on page F7, we see convertible notes payable. We got a few of them that based on money that they were raising throughout 2011. And most of the money that they're raising is part of a larger convertible note agreement that they have with a key investor. Under the agreement, the company can borrow up to $500,000 on an as-needed basis. Interest on the outstanding balance is due monthly at a rate of 36% per year. So not the greatest interest rate right there on the convertible notes. But sometimes these smaller companies that really need money really quick have to raise money in a fashion that they don't particularly like. Otherwise, the company could potentially go under. But anyways, with no schedule set for principal repayments, the holder of the note has the right to convert part or the entire outstanding balance into shares of the company's common stock at a 30% discount to market price. So another thing that we always see with these quick raises is that they're getting significantly discounted shares basically whenever they want. And the term of this note has been extended to January 1st, 2013. And right under here, we're seeing a few pulls from this convertible note agreement already to the tune of about $220,000. And also, there's a few other long-term debts, convertible notes that they talk about right under that. I'm not going to go into the details of all of it. Key point, they do have convertible notes out there. We're very likely going to see that outstanding share count much, much higher when we get the next financials out. And that could very well be responsible for some of, the things we've been seeing in the market over the last couple of days. Some of these notes getting converted. But again, the company's doing a lot of things that I really do like as well that are going to bring in significant cash flow so they don't have to raise money in some of the toxic ways that they've been doing over the course of the last year. All right, so let's roll into the recent press. Let's just roll over to the hub real quick. Whoa, I was clearly doing research all the way up to the show. Let's just check out some of the recent news. I apologize. I must have clicked on something. There we go. FRCN news. And, one of the things that I always talk about that I like to do is just kind of just scroll through the history of the stocks and what sort of press they've been putting out over the last couple of years. This stock is not short of press at all throughout 2012, just starting on January 10th, 2012 here. Most of this related to various projects they're working on, related to getting their name out there, going to various conferences and whatnot, and also just related to this franchising operation that they've been rolling out recently. Fireman's Contractors Incorporated, first franchisee launch is a success, and we'll get into more details here. They just put out some nice press on that and what that means for the company in the future. But since our last spotlight, we have a few press releases that we're going to want to touch on. Let's just touch on the three most current press releases here. August 24th, 2012, Fireman's Contractors, Inc. eyes $1.7 billion TIFIA program expansion, basically a massive government program with a massive fund geared at these smaller construction-based companies. All right, and so, firearms contractors, obviously they donate a large percentage to local firefighter agencies and whatnot, and they perform quality services. They have huge Fortune 500 clients, and they're really getting their brand name out there. Very, very, very likely that they will get a nice little chunk of this, basically as a grant, or even just as a loan with a nice interest rate, to be able to expand their business throughout the United States. So this is a keynote right here. Definitely keep your eyes on the wires for further information related to some grants or loans for firemen's contractors from that large TIFIA program. August 27th, 2012, Firemen's Contractors Incorporated sees increase in its Fortune 500 client base. We were just talking about the awesome clients that they have. 89% spike in repeat Fortune 500 business. I'm not going to go into the details of this press release. You can go read it yourself, but basically all you need is the title in that one. We saw the major client list on their website. Go check that out. I don't think they'd be working with these big name companies if they didn't perform quality work. All right. So great stuff there for the company. Always love to invest in companies that are dealing with large Fortune 500 clients. And then the press yesterday, is it the 6th today? Am I dreaming? I might be dreaming. It is the 7th today. I apologize. 2 days ago on Wednesday, 9/5/2012, Firemen's Contractors, Inc. attracts investment interest for franchise financing. All right. This is a really key note and could mean huge, huge things for the company. So we know that they just launched their first franchise location just recently, right? So this talks about the success of it. Firemen's Contractors Incorporated, a commercial contractor offering business-to-business commercial franchises and services in the pavement maintenance and parking lot maintenance industry, announced today that its first franchisee has experienced an explosive opening, generating revenues in excess of 75% of the franchise cost in just the first 2 months in operation. All right, so basically making all their money back that they invested in this franchise in about 2 months, or 3/4 of their money back. So you can imagine what sort of potential that these franchise locations have over the longer term. Another couple months down the road, they'll already be in the profit. So obviously you're gonna get some big names interested in that. We expect that every new franchise opened under the firearms brand can generate revenues substantially enough to cover the initial franchise costs, as well as deliver a return on investment within the first year of operating. While it is still early to be sure, the initial 2 months of our first franchisee's operations, any indication of what's to come, they might see a possible return on investment in excess of 400% within that first year, should the current positive momentum continue. But the keynote here, let's see, sources close to the company suggest that interested investors are quite amazed at the initial success of the first franchise launch just 2 months ago. Spokesperson for the company also indicated that observing investors are equally impressed by the number of prospects having already expressed interest in the firearms brand. Gilmore herself is in awe at the overwhelming attention firearms brand is receiving, stating, "We'd love to sign up 40 franchises in our first year. However, we believe strongly in our franchise development team as they strongly advise that we are methodical, building our franchise infrastructure carefully and without undue haste." Down at the bottom here, Gilmore concluded, "We are currently in the process of exploring our second franchisee prospect opportunity. This deal can possibly be concluded within the next 30 days. Our financing options for our new franchisees can also become a possibility by the time we launch our third or fourth franchise. This is extremely exciting for the growth of Fireman's." So in the near future, they're going to be able to actually finance their franchisees, which will enhance expansion dramatically. All right, I'm not going to go over everything else in this company. You can go listen to the first spotlight, combine it with the second spotlight update here, and you'll get all the information you need to know. We've covered the key points. The key things we are going to want to look at with firemen's contractors are how are they going to raise their money in the future. We know they've done some semi-toxic convertible debt raising things in the past, as we saw in the filings. That's probably going to lead to an increased outstanding share count in the near future. Not something a stockholder likes to see, but it's something that happens with all these pennies. Depending on who that investor is, it might not be as bad as it sounds right now, and it's probably not going to be too many shares because they've raised most of that money already. But as we just looked over in that second press release, we're going to have significant investors, big funds, interested in investing in this franchisee ideal that this company is focusing on right now in the near future. And that will allow them to expand probably as rapidly as they want to for the most part if these other franchises start having the success that we've seen with this first one. Also, lots of funds in this TIFIA program down here, the press from August 24th. So lots of quality sources of funds that this company will be able to dip into in the future to be able to grow and expand and get that revenue count, which is already, $750,000 into the millions and tens of millions over the next couple of years. But last thing to keep in mind is we've been, let's just check out DD Man real quick. I'm sorry. There we go. The stock was really quiet before about 2 weeks ago, right? So the chart ran from 003 all the way up to touched 1.4 cents, that looks like. And it's been dipping back down. A little pullback here. We'll take a look at the chart in a second, but lots of volume here. All right. We have an 80 million outstanding share count stock, and look at the volumes we're seeing. 30 million, 27, 20, 20, 10, 10, 15, 16, 15. So you can already guess that we very likely have an outstanding share count that's higher than that 80 million count. So we really need this company to release some financials and update the pink sheets with the current share structure so we can get a better assessment of what sort of value we're looking at here in the near future. But great things going on with the company in the press. And if they can manage this share structure in a healthy way, I could see a big move on this stock in the near future as they expand and get more franchises going. But I'm going to roll over to stock Sumo for the chart before I keep babbling. And I like to babble, and sometimes I lose my train of thought and repeat myself 100 times. So,
all right, cool. Good job, Haas. Well, as you can see, the stock has made a couple of nice runs here the past few months. Back here, June, July range, it bounced off of the support level of around 0022, ran as high as 0061. It got through that 20-day moving average, had a nice jump. It hovered right around that 20-day moving average, found support at 0029-ish, and had a run up to 0053. Settled back to that support level of 0021. That's when you've seen the volume really start to pick up, and you had that big move on all the way up to 014, and it ran into resistance at the 100-day moving average. Looks like it's holding support off of that 20-day moving average, though. I'd like to see it continue to hold support off of these moving averages. If it doesn't hold the 20, the next one below that is the 50 at 0045. The 20 is at 0051. And you got the 100-day at 013. That's going to be the major resistance and support. Looking at the accumulation distribution, it had that sharp increase after it bottomed out right here. Looks like it's sloping off, and it looks like it's coming back to that support level. Let's see if it can bounce. I would like to see the accumulation distribution turn around and move back up and get through the 50 MA overlay. You got the RSI that's coming off of the power zone on a decline. I'd like to see this RSI turn back around, hold support off the 50 MA overlay. And looking at the other indicators, those are both looking very bearish. The PPO looks like it wants to cross over. This could be a bearish signal. If the PPO could curl back around and continue to climb, then that'll be a good sign. As long as it holds above this 50 MA overlay, though, that should be all right. The slow stow got below the 50 MA overlay. I'd like to see it bounce off the 50 line and come get back above the 50 MA overlay. All right, that's what I got for the chart, and that'll pretty much wrap things up.
Yeah, it was a quicker spotlight with the repeat, but make sure you listen to both. But without further ado, have a safe trading day, folks. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.